This is the story of Kate, an overhead valve, big wheel, push mower with a overhead valve Briggs & Stratton engine. And I'm well along the way of trying to get this mower to run again. I bought this as a parts mower along with several others, and this mower cost me $10. The fellow had a lot of electric push mowers, and people had given him their mowers when they bought an electric mower from him, and he was sitting on these and just wanted to get rid of them because his wife was saying, hey, the driveway's full of all these old mowers, you need to get rid of them. So he sold them for $10, and I bought 5 of them. This one was particularly pretty, nice looking mower. I mean, you know, it's just great looking, and I don't think it's hardly ever been used because it still has the little paper gas tag on there that you get it when it's brand new from Home Depot or Lowe's or wherever you buy it. So I left that on there because I think that's kind of cool to be this old. And this mower is from 2018. You can see model year there. And this is 2025. And I suspect that they probably didn't own this mower for very long, and it quit running on them, and they tried to repair it. And I wanted to just share with you a couple of things that you run into when you buy a broken mower or a push mower that someone sells as parts, and you're wondering, well, gee, this thing looks so good. I wonder if I could get it running. And you definitely can. But you got to be a detective and figure out what is going on. Why would somebody get rid of such a pretty mower? And the answer is frustration, and they try to repair it themselves. They use, their common sense to try and get it running. And so I look at things and I go, okay, what is the first thing I notice about this mower? And the first thing I did was check the oil, and the oil was extremely high. It was like probably had close to a quart of oil in it. And these mowers only hold somewhere, depending on the mower and how well you drain it out and everything, it's going to be somewhere around 18 ounces, maybe 20 ounces. So I'd say 16 to 20 ounces. And don't overfill them, so don't think, oh, it's 20 ounces. And so you put 20 ounces in there, and then you've overfilled your mower because there's a little bit still down in the sump tank. And but this thing was so full, and so I drained the oil off, every bit of it, and then replaced it to the correct level, where it's right on the dipstick where it should be, not too low, not too high. And so I thought, well, I'm gonna see if I can pull the cord on this. And the cord, like so many of them, was kind of rusty, but it works now. I put a little WD-40 in there on each end of the cable, and now it works. But I couldn't turn it; it wouldn't move at all. And so again, let's go back to being the detective and saying, okay, they overfilled it with oil. So why would they do that? Because they quit running. And they thought, well, maybe we ran it out of oil. Maybe it doesn't have enough oil, so they put oil in there. And they put so much in there that that's contributing to not being able to crank this thing, because there's no place for all that oil to go, and so it builds up pressure, and you can't pull the cord. I've had many mowers like that where I couldn't pull the cord on it at all until I got the oil out of it, because there's so much in there. The whole system was just packed off with oil, cylinders wouldn't close, exhaust valves wouldn't open and close, compression stroke wouldn't open and close. It's just full of oil. So, and usually when that happens, if you do get it running, it's going to smoke like crazy until it burns off the oil that it's pushed out into the muffler, because it's got to go somewhere, and it often pushes it out that way too. So, so where do we go with this mower? So I tilt it back, and I look underneath. I'm going to tilt it back on my table. I think I've got the spark plug out. Let me get my toolbox on this thing. That'll help. Hang on one second. This is how you'll be able to see I've got the engine brake working. You see that weight of that toolbox compresses it. So looking under here, you're going to go, well, gee, that looks really nice. Well, yeah, that's because it's got a brand new blade on it. I couldn't really turn this blade with my hands very well. So the plug was out, and I still couldn't turn it without using a lot of force. And I noticed that the blade, like this blade here looks nice, it's right in here. As the blade swung around here, it was sticking out below the deck about an inch. And I thought, uh-oh, they've hit something with it. And they've damaged the blade. And I thought, oh, I hope they haven't bent the crankshaft and sheared the key and all that. So I looked at the key first, and it had been bumped. They hit it hard enough to where it was not in the line anymore. And obviously the blade was bent. So I put this guy on there, this brand new blade, and it wouldn't turn either. And that's because the crankshaft here was bent. And so every time we'll call it the low side, when the low side would swing around to a certain point, it would be very hard to turn, because it's pressing up against the that main seal, which is sort of flexible, but it kind of acts like a engine brake, because that crankshaft comes around when it's bent, and boom, it pushes against that seal, and it's hard to turn. So, time to get out the big hammer. And if you guys follow me, I've put a couple of videos on how I straighten crankshafts, and some of them have been horribly bent. I had one that was just horribly bent, and I got it straightened out with a sledgehammer. Okay, normally I can get these blades straightened with just a heavy, I think it's about a 2 or 3 pound hammer. Let me see if I can show it to you. It's not that one, that's not heavy enough. Where did I put that thing? It's my famous crankshaft, there it is. Okay, so this is the one I usually use to straighten the crankshaft. Not that one, this one. But the video I posted called Horribly Bent Crankshaft, I actually had to use a sledgehammer. What I mean by that, it was so badly bent that I had to use that. And you'd say, oh my God, I can't believe you're hitting that with a sledgehammer. Well, you're just trying to straighten it. And brakes and straighten engines are very tough. And so anyway, I got it straight, and the mower's fine, and it did great, and it's running perfect now. But I don't often have to use the big sledge. I can usually use this one, and that's what I used on this mower here. But one of the big tips I wanted to share with the guys out there who also work on mowers like me is if you ever get a blade adapter that's a long one like that, and it's the standard shaft, you know, not the big, you know, just the standard small size shaft, not the big. I'm not sure of the measurements, but your average household mower, the 20-inch mower, the 21-inch mower, if you get into the really big engines, sometimes they'll have a larger crankshaft. I'm talking about the standard. Okay, that's what this is. If you ever get one like this and somebody hit it so hard that they've sheared the key off inside the blade adapter, which is the case here, is sheared off, do not throw this thing away if you work on mowers, because this is a very useful thing to have, because by the key being sheared off, you can place this on the crankshaft and it'll spin around whatever direction you need to. And so when you find the high side, and on this mower, you know, let's say the high side was here, and you needed to push this crankshaft down with the big heavy hammer, then you take this thing, which gives you more leverage, and you turn it to where you have the flat side up, because there's no key, so it'll just spin around on that crankshaft. And you turn it where the flat side is up, put it on as far as it'll go, which is, you know, like an inch or so, not too much. That's as far as it'll go, and it'll stop. And now you hit that flat side with this thing. Because you have this long adapter, you've got more leverage, and you're putting more pressure on that crankshaft, and it's easier to swing and hit with this because it's further out from the deck. You're not worried about coming up here with your hammer and hitting the deck and missing because this is sticking out so far. It just helps you. It helps you in your task of straightening the shaft by having a long adapter. So if you ever get one of these with a sheared key inside, do not throw it away unless you already have one. But so I use this one, and then I also use what you found on the little 20-inch mowers that's a circular adapter. Those are useful too, but I like this one now because it sticks out so far. I had really good luck with that. So I beat the heck out of this thing, and I got the crankshaft straight now, and where I could not even turn the blade at all with my hand, even with the spark plug out, and that's because the crankshaft was so bent. Well, now it's straight, and watch this now. This is one finger, and the plug is out, see? That's pretty good. So I think this mower may be all right. We're going to find out together. So tune in on the next video, and I'm going to pull the cord on this thing and see if it's going to run and if it vibrates or not. If it vibrates, then I haven't straightened it out enough. But I think it may be okay now, just based on how how you can look at it. Like, I'm looking right there, and there's like a little tiny gap. And so when I rotate this around, is the other blade in the same spot, and it is so close. That's pretty good. Okay, so that's one side to side, so it's good here and good here. But what about if the blade is bent and it's up the vertical position? Well, then you just say, okay, let me check the vertical and put a little dot right here, little dot. Okay, so I move this, I turn the blade and I bring the other end of the blade down. Where is it? See, right there on the dot. So I think this blade is, I think the crankshaft now is straight. The blade is brand new. The other blade was too bent to even use. When you come back, let's see if we get this thing running, and if it doesn't vibrate. Now, this thing may have been sitting around for 4 or 5 years. It was made in 2018, so I drained all old gas out of it because I'm sure it was old. It was the color of honey, which is often a hint, and it didn't smell too great, so it was old. And cleaned out the tank, cleaned out the carburetor, and we're about ready to pull the cord on this thing. So come on back and we'll see what happens.